Christmas is magic when you're 7 or so. Santa and reindeer are for real. How do those presents all get under the tree? I'll stay up late and then I'll see.
Searching for reasons as the seasons go by. Why does the wonder have to go? Christmas is different when you enter your teens. When will you know just what it means?
Christmas alone can be empty. Family and friends far away. Unless you hang on to the feeling that's a part of this day.
Things as special as a Christmas at home, sharing with children of your own. You can discover the true meaning of the magic of Christmas. It's love. It's
Thank you. That was Christmas in 1980, half my lifetime ago. And that was a lady I fell absolutely in love with. I worked with her for 3 years, producing music and writing special material. And this was one of the Christmas songs we did for the Christmas show. A quick story about it. I wasn't supposed to sing that with her. I'd written a song for her, and we rehearsed it with me at the piano. We went through fine, great, she sang it, she got it. And we ended up, the crew was dismissed and to get ready for the taping, and she said to me, come here. I said, yes. And she said, I want you to sing this with me. I have never sung on camera before. Standing in front of a camera, there's one lady that knows exactly. There's millions of people who watch you. The thought that goes through your mind, oh my God, that would be terrible. And Dinah got that. She put her hands on my shoulders and she said to me, and I remember this to this day, do you have faith in me? And I said, yes. And she said, I have faith in you. I wouldn't do anything to make you look stupid. I know you can do this. Without a rehearsal, without a second take, that was that. The wonderful thing about my life is that I've met some incredible people, and I still do, and thanks to Reverend Keith, I'm here at this wonderful, wonderful job. And one of the ladies that I truly love working with is the guest artist today. And I'm so happy. Arnaé Batson.
Let's give him another hand. You noticed the outfit, right? You all saw what he did, right? Good morning. We're so pleased and proud, grateful to be here this morning. Let's all read together. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost Yuletide carols being sung by the choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe. The season bright. When their eyes all aglow, we'll find it hard to sleep tonight. It's been said many times, many ways. Merry Christmas to you. Thank you.
Please welcome to the Beamer, Reverend Dr. Keith Cox.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. And Merry Christmas. How is it? You're all so festive. I love it. I love it. Merry Christmas. You've already had the wonderful experience and the joy of Andy Belling and his wonderful story, our co-music director, and Arnaé Batson. So happy to have her. And a big shout out to Travis up in the up there handling the video for us today. Thank you, Travis. So, as said, I am Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, and I am the spiritual leader, getting some feedback, spiritual leader here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles. Okay, whoa, okay. And, or is that, am I the only one hearing that? No, so we're happy to have you here today for our annual holiday celebration service. If you're here for the first time, welcome. Anybody here for the first time? You don't have to stand up. Welcome to have you. We're not going to put carnations on you or put you in the middle of the room and do hands-on prayer or any of that unless you want, and then we can arrange that later today. But thank you all for being here and us having our annual holiday celebration here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. We're a metaphysical-based New Thought community that comes together every Sunday morning here in our home in West Hollywood, and we come together to honor the power of the divine that exists equally among each and every one of us as sentient beings. We believe here in the philosophy, the faith, the way of life that's known as the science of mind, which believes that there's only one power that exists. Matters not what you call it. Oftentimes we call it God. That's a term that we use here, and if that term feels right for you, use it and use it frequently, and if it doesn't, use something else that works for you. But our belief is that the more and more that we call upon that indwelling presence, then we develop a consciousness that resonates with the qualities of that particular power, the only power power that exists. And in so doing, the spiritual law of life, those universal impersonal laws of life, will bring forth through us an experience of life that is reflective of those qualities. And so we're happy to have you here today. You'll hear more about those qualities in just a moment, but we're happy to have you here. And our philosophy is we welcome all when you're here and hope that you have a wonderful time celebrating the power of the divine within you and each and every one of you while here, and that it sparks something within you that when you walk out the doors that you spread your light to others in a conscious and purposeful and intentional way. So as our beloved Dr. David Walker, the founder of this particular church almost 30 years ago, used to say each and every Sunday morning, we welcome one, and we welcome all. So today, of course, is our Sunday celebration service for Christmas. We don't celebrate Christmas in the most traditional sense of the baby Jesus being born of a virgin. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. I'm sure you're on pins and needles to wait till I talk about that. But we do honor the light within. And so prior to us moving into our morning ritual that we do every Sunday morning, we're going to sing a Christmas carol or two, right? And so you have handouts that Sarah, our office assistant, and I so beautifully put together, who's here today got us on camera. So take those, and Andy and Arnaé will take us along and sing, sing, sing. Enjoy.
Okay. All right, choir, are you all ready? Oh, we're ready.
Hallelujah. Bring it in, baby. You bring in the goodness and the light. I love that we're a solemn crowd, right? Low key, very. I'll let it go. Okay, so we move on into our service this morning is calling in the light ritual, which is an opportunity that we have each and every Sunday morning to anchor ourselves into this power and presence and the light that we just sang about. And so if you're new here today, the journey of that is our practitioner of the day will take us through the lighting of candles and through a ritual. Our musical team, Andy and Arnaé, will take you on a song, and at the end you'll hear a bit of what's called spiritual mind treatment, which is the methodology in which we pray here, which is affirmative in its nature, but very declarative in its nature, not supplicative on any level, so you'll see that. So I'd like to welcome to the Bema our practitioner of the day, Reverend Lenore Edney, as she will take us through this. One of our board members.
Calling in. Whoops. Well, that's why they invented those pianos.
So much light, so much light. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. Ooh, calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love.
Today we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. And the purpose of this ritual is to draw into our gathering this morning a conscious awareness of our oneness and the qualities we possess as complete expressions of the divine. So as Sandy lights the first candle, it is for the quality of peace. And as Sandy lights the second candle, it is illuminated for the quality of power. And the lighting of the third candle is for the quality of beauty. And the fourth candle is for the quality of joy. And the fifth candle is lit for all forms of light. And Sandy lights the sixth candle, which is lit for all life. And the seventh candle is lit for the quality of love. And the eighth candle is lit for wisdom. And the ninth candle is the healing candle. And we ask that you take a moment and think of anyone you would like silently to put into the light of the healing flame, to experience the eternal and everlasting love of the divine. moment to remember the individual or individuals who first witnessed your light within and see the blessings shared.
I am love.
I am love.
I am peace.
I am peace
In my heart,
in my heart.
I am free.
I am free.
I am spirit.
I am spirit.
I am soul.
I am soul.
All together, we are and so it is, and so it is, and so it is.
So as you are seated into this place, this presence, this power, this oneness, this allness, this isness, it is the divine, everywhere present, that we know and see as there's no place where it is not. As we go about this day, we recognize it, seeing it absolutely everywhere, even in that which may be chaotic, even in that which may be confusion. Instead, we know the truth. There is only peace, there is only love, there is only joy. And as we gather this day, right here in this room and online and everywhere that we are, we celebrate the uniqueness each of us is, remembering that we are that which is Spirit made manifest. So as we open our ears and open our hearts and open our minds to hear the message this morning, we celebrate the allness, the only thing that is the one. And as we step forward from this place, we are in the celebration of life itself. In thanksgiving for what it took to get us here, what it took to make this happen, we rejoice. We rejoice and know that it is fun-filled and smack dab sitting right in the presence that is the only thing, that oneness. We allowed these words to be, we let them go, and together we say, and so it is.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Reverend Lenore and Sandy and Andy and Arnaé and Jesus. Does anyone had a time in life where something didn't go as planned? Yeah, it goes on. That's the nature of the organic aspect of it all. So next we have a tradition that I started here a couple of years ago, which is the reading of a letter by the founder of the teaching, the Science of Mind, Dr. Ernest Holmes. And I'd like to welcome to the Bema our president of the Board of Trustees, who read it for us last year, will do so again this year. Please welcome Dr. Sheila Hughes.
Christmas letter by Dr. Ernest Holmes. Christmas is for remembrance, the love manifesting through our gifts to each other, typifies the offering of life, the givingness of spirit to its creation. The hands of the eternal are outstretched through our hands, and the heart of the infinite beats in the human breast. But the giver must give of himself, for the gift without the giver is bare. It is not then in lavish gifts that we find true giving, but in the sweet simplicity of remembrance, in the kindly thought, the tolerant mind, and the gentle act. Love alone can give love. Sympathy alone can sympathize. And only goodness can really do or be good. The one who gives for reward does not give at all. He seeks to bargain, to trade for spiritual gifts. Hence, he senses loss on his own giving and finds no completion through the act. But he who gives half his meat to the hungry feels justified and is warmed by a real sense of comradeship. He has established an actual unity between himself and other offspring of creation. Great causes succeed when there is a giving of humanity. With the check must come the one who wrote it, his interest, his enthusiasm, his love. The check must be a symbol of his desire to impart himself. Then shall it multiply its benefits and do good. Charity is cold, but love is warm. When heart speaks to heart, divine conversation has taken place, a heavenly discourse. Each of us has something to give. Let each see that he gives of his best. If we are bringing our gifts to the altar of love, nothing less than the best will be acceptable. Nothing less than all is enough. May the real spirit of Christmas, the giving of self to life, enter and abide in you now and through all time.
Thank you, Dr. Sheila. Thank you, Miss Beautiful. Touching, correct? Very touching. Yes, good. So now we have another song by the one and only Arnaé Batson and Andy Belling. Arnaé, take it away.
Some of you may recognize this. Feel free to Silent
Arnaé Batson. Love having you here, Arnaé. Absolutely. I'm going to out Arnaé for just a second. She walked in and I said to her, I'm so happy to have you here. Have you had a good time in South Africa? And because she was recently there with Dr. Michael Beckwith for the celebration of Nelson Mandela's birthday, correct? And she said, which time? And I said, what do you mean? And she said that she's there working on a project with the Soweto Gospel Choir. Is that correct what you said? Yeah. So we look forward to hearing more information about that and purchasing it and maybe having you and some of the choir here singing. All right, so in the teachings of the Buddha, this is one of the things that he writes or has said. Following the noble path is like entering a dark room with a light in the hand. The darkness will be cleared away and the room will be filled with light. Now, people who understand the meaning of the noble truths and have learned to follow the noble path are in possession of the light of wisdom that will clear away the darkness of ignorance. The light of wisdom that's being spoken of here by the Buddha is not something that we need to reach out and pull into our being. As addressed in our qualities of the divine and calling in the light earlier, we were informed that the light of wisdom already exists within us. This month the theme has been the path of illumination. In that context, we have been learning that this light of life, this Christ the Savior that Arnaé just spoke of, isn't about some baby being born in the manger. It's about that Christ consciousness that exists within each and every one of us, the purity, the wholeness, the completeness, the wisdom, the power, the beauty, the light, the life, the joy that all exist within us. It's already there. It just embodied our body, or our body embodied it when life took form in our physical being. But oftentimes we forget that it's there, or we've been conditioned or told that it's not there. But this time of year is reminding us that this demarcation in time that's called Christmas is for us to stop and to remember that within us we have the capacity to remember beyond the human thought who we are as divine beings that are expressing our humanity as we navigate this pathway called life itself. Now, you may wonder why I'm beginning my message this Christmas quoting the teaching of Buddha. I'm doing so because personally I believe that the light and the noble path that's being referenced here speaks to the true meaning of this holiday. Now, as I said, I'm not speaking specifically of the secular or commercial celebration of Christmas. I'm speaking of the story of the miracle of the birth of the baby Jesus, who, according to the story in the Holy Bible, was born as the anointed one, the Son of God, or simply the Christ. But to look at it from a metaphysical perspective, which we practice here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles. And in traditional metaphysical teachings, including, as I said, what we practice here, it's our belief that Jesus, or the story of Jesus, isn't to be taken literally. His birth, his life, his actions, and his death are all an example of the light that exists within each one of us. It's what I spoke about a moment ago called Christ consciousness. It's living from that place of pureness in our consciousness and letting that manifest itself through us unencumbered in form. Now, as I said, this month has been about the pathway of illumination, what it is, what is ours to do, how to walk that pathway, all leading up today to remind us that Jesus, the Christ, as Dr. Barbara King says, that was not his surname, by the way, Jesus the Christ is an example to us, not the exception. That he was an example to us, not the exception. This holiday is a reminder in its beautiful message and story of the connection that we all share in humanity and the ability that we have to consciously bring forth our own light through the manner in which we live our lives and what we choose to believe about ourselves to the world. In other words, how we shine our light, which is a reflection of how we know ourselves and others to be as divine beings. In other words, when we look in the mirror on a daily basis, do we see the Christ within? And do we do that for others? This holiday is to remind us that as we expand our beliefs and approach our life from this state of mind, this state of being, that it begins to appear as if everyday miracles are happening. Well, the question is, are they? And the answer is yes. Just as the mythical story of the miracle of the birth of a baby from a virgin, which has only happened that one time, yet miracles are indeed happening. And they're happening in the only way that they can, which is through us. Not to us, not for us, not because of us, but through us. They're a result of our choosing to raise our consciousness to a vibrational frequency that is in alignment with that of a Christ consciousness. Now, this is the key, one of the key components to an understanding of the teaching and the philosophy of not only the science of mind, but many, many Eastern and New Thought philosophies. So let's remember that today what we're being called to do on this day of Christmas is to celebrate the miracles of life. To celebrate the miracles of life. Well, what indeed is a miracle? Well, in its traditional sense, a miracle is defined as an unusual or wonderful event that is believed to be caused by the power of God. But the key to that is being clear on what your definition or your belief in that three-letter word is. To have the key to using the definition of God as an impersonal, indwelling, omniscient, infinite power, and using that definition or some variation of that for you, and to then use it and approach life in the only way that we can, which it works for us, and to then have a clear understanding and faith that this particular power is universal. I teach in my classes, and many of you have heard me say from here oftentimes from the podium, the key to understanding and using this philosophy and this teaching in a way that works for you is really twofold. One is to ask yourself, do you believe there is a power that is greater than you in this universe? And if the answer is no, you should go somewhere else. Not that I'm throwing you out, but this philosophy is never going to work for you if you don't. It's not going to work for you at all, because that's one of the basic tenets, that there is one indwelling, infinite, universal presence, and it is impersonal by nature. And that you are expressing it with every thought, belief, action, interaction, and reaction in life, whether you want to or not. That's just the nature of the power. And if the answer to that is yes, you do believe that, then the second question is, has it ever failed you? Has it ever failed you? And the reality is no. The answer is no. Why? Because it can't. It's not its nature. For it to fail you, it would have to be personal. It would have to decide to give birth to a virgin once. But that's not its nature. Its nature is to be there for your beck and call, to call it more and more and more, and in so doing, then diminish anything from your state of mind that contradicts that as your reality. And then see what shows up. Because miracles are happening every single day, every single moment to us. Well, what are some of them? Well, I believe that some of the miracles that we take for granted in life are that our hearts beat. They're beating right now, whether you're aware of it or not. That our lungs function, that our brains do their job. On a universal level, that the earth spins on its axis, and that we orbit the sun, and the sun isn't burning us and disintegrating us, that gravity works. On an esoteric level, that we know that love is tangible, We know that. Do you agree with me? You know what the feeling of love is. And that music can bring us joy. We felt that this morning. No, you might say, well, that's just life. It is just life. But if you step far enough back and think about it, that is a miracle. That each and every one of us has the capacity to not only receive that light of music, the light of Arnaé Batson and Andy Belling and Dinah Shore and each one of you, and the experience that you're having of me in this moment and that I'm having of you, that's a miracle. It's somewhat unexplainable, and certainly from science it can be explained. But from a perspective of the evolution of consciousness and why we are here and what is ours to do. From a metaphysical perspective, what it speaks of is that there is a power that is within each and every one of us. It gives us life itself. Its qualities are also known as peace, power, beauty, joy, love, and wisdom. And that we get to experience those to the degree that we become conscious of them. In other words, to the degree that we choose to know and know that we know that Jesus, the Christ, was not the only one who can turn water into wine and walk on water. That same miracle exists within each and every one of us. And we get to define or decide for ourselves how the miracle is going to show up. But first, what is required of us is to have faith. Faith. Not faith in some power that's out there, but this resonance field of awakening within, that we play a vital role in the co-creation of that which shows up in our life. So today I invite you to ask yourself, what do you believe in regards to the principle of life? Can today be the day, as if today is the Christmas, the birth of Christ? Because you know they chose the 25th just to be the day. It was another day. It was on a Thursday in July. But today we each get to choose that today's the day. The miracles become anew for us. That today's the day we get to choose to see and experience and express and receive the miracle of the light of life. In A Course in Miracles, a miracle is defined as a new perspective. It's really quite simple and quite profound, I believe. A new perspective. So today I invite you to open your mind to receiving a new perspective in regards to the birth of baby Jesus. Not like, how the hell did that dude get born of a virgin in a manger long, long ago? Don't buy into the old story. Don't be attached to whatever attachment you may or may not have to it or any celebration prior to that. But give yourself the gift today, in this season of giving, the gift of a new perspective, of forgiving yourself and letting go to every single thing that was, and releasing yourself from an attachment to every single thing that is to be, and simply be present in the moment and open your eyes, your ears, your heart to what may come. One of my great joys in my life is listening to music, and this time of year I love to listen to the songs of Christmas, and one that we are going to sing in a moment that I love is "O come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. O come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. O come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord." Today we get to adore that Lord, not as some power to save us, but as that indwelling presence within ourselves that we get to save ourselves. From what? From old thinking, from old ideas, from the garbage that we place on ourselves of feeling less than or unworthy, of feeling that life has given us a bad blow, or even the feelings that we are above someone else on any level. Let today be the day that you awaken that Christ consciousness within and you give it to the world. The song goes on to say, "Oh, sing, choirs of angels, sing in exultation, sing all that hear in heaven God's holy word." The holy word for you today is that you are the power. You are the presence. You are the peace. You are the light. You are the love. And you are the wisdom of God. You already are. You don't have to do anything else to make it happen. But you get to choose today, this celebration service for Christmas in the year 2018, to awaken and hear those angels sing in exultation your personal self-empowerment through your spiritual awakening. And then you get to give it and give it and give it. Thank you and Merry Christmas.